The wind whispered secrets across the desert, but none as sweet as the way your name echoes in my heart. In every grain of sand beneath my feet, I find a reason to cherish you more deeply. You arrived in my life not as a stranger, but as a rhythm long lost, now returned in the melody of your eyes. They hold questions I have longed to answer and answers I have feared to ask. Every time I look at you, it feels like the sun has paused in the sky, waiting for my next breath, which only finds life through your presence. Love me like you do almost, where even the silence between our words becomes a symphony of longing. There's something in the way your voice folds into mine when we speak. Like the world understands us in a language only we remember, one sculpted not in words but in moments, when your fingers brushed against mine in the courtyard of gold, when your laughter dissolved the chaos of my days. I do not seek perfect love, my queen. I seek a love that trembles on the edge of eternal, where even hesitation becomes poetry. Love me like you do almost, where the ache is part of the beauty. Tonight, the moon looked down on me with envy. She, the eternal witness to lovers' confessions, cannot mirror the way you dwell in my every breath. My horses gallop beneath the starlit sky, but my heart races only for you. Do you feel it too? This fire that neither wind nor water could tame. Even if you try to run from it, I will not chase. I will simply wait in the stillness of the desert, where time itself bends to the will of love. Love me like you do almost, enough to stay, yet not enough to burn. I penned verses in the margins of forgotten letters, trying to describe what I cannot speak aloud. The palace is full of gold and marble, but it is empty when your footsteps do not echo through its halls. Every room remembers you. Every mirror reflects your absence. I am not a man who bows easily to emotion, but in your presence, I kneel without pride. Let the world misunderstand me. Let them misquote my silence. But you, my love, must understand that to love you is not a choice, it is a need. Love me like you do almost, on the edge of surrender. I stood before my ancestors and swore that if ever I loved, I would love deeply, honestly, with a fury calm and endless. And then you came, not as a storm, but as a whisper. Not as a conquest, but as a revelation. You did not ask for my heart, you simply made it yours by existing. You taught me that royalty means nothing if love is a prisoner. That a crown is heavy, but your absence is heavier. Love me like you do almost, with that sacred hesitation, as if you're afraid to fall but already have. There are moments, fleeting but infinite, when I wonder if fate regrets introducing us. For what have we become, but proof that destiny dares? My every poem, my every breath, is now stitched with your name. And yet, I hold back. I do not tell the world. Not yet. Because what we have is a prayer, too holy to be shouted, too raw to be tamed. Love me like you do almost, as though you're unsure, yet still unable to let go. I've stood in battlefields and returned with scars. But nothing wounds deeper than your silence. It is the absence of your voice that teaches me pain. Yet, even then, I wait. I forgive. I love. Not because I am weak, but because you are the only strength I ever truly wanted. If this is war, then may I be your only casualty. Love me like you do almost, with every word unspoken yet understood. Sometimes I watch you from afar, pretending I don't feel the ground shift beneath me. You walk with grace, unaware of the chaos you ignite. You smile, and the air loses meaning. I would trade my throne for a single moment beside you, without titles, without guards, just a man and a woman beneath the stars. Love me like you do almost, where every distance is just an excuse for closeness. I have danced with many moons, but none made me forget the sun the way you did. Your presence eclipses the world. I no longer see ambition or legacy. I see us, two souls trembling on the edge of forever, daring to exist in a world too harsh for softness. But with you, I crave softness. I crave surrender. Love me like you do almost, like you're learning how to love me right, even if it's breaking you. If I were to disappear tomorrow, leave behind this kingdom of glass and steel, I would leave only one message behind, it would be your name. Because you are the story I never dared to write. The prayer I never thought would be heard. I don't need a legacy, I need you. And if that means waiting 1,000 years in silence, I will wait. Love me like you do almost, like the future rests in every blink of your eyes. I built walls not to keep others out, but to test if anyone would climb them. You did not climb, you flew over them. You arrived like fate's answer to every lonely night I ever endured. My queen, do not love me perfectly. Love me with trembling hands, with unsure glances, with near confessions. That is the love that lives. That is the love that scars. Love me like you do almost enough to destroy me, but just enough to save me. And if the world ever demands that I choose between glory and you, know that I will walk away from the crown without regret. Because what is power without passion? What is reign without romance? I would rather be a poet in your arms than a ruler in an empty palace. So love me like you do almost, just on the edge of eternity, where every heartbeat is a vow and every sigh is a promise waiting to be fulfilled. The night deepens, and yet I find myself wide awake, writing your name into the stars with my thoughts. There's a strange comfort in this longing, as if my soul has grown accustomed to the ache of you. I sip tea beneath the moonlight, but even the taste reminds me of the gentleness in your voice, the way you whispered, maybe, instead of, no, and how even your hesitations feel like love letters. I am not asking you to promise forever. I am asking you to stay in this moment with me, heart open, fears tucked behind your smile. Love me like you do almost, not with certainty, but with that quiet hope that tomorrow. There are days I wonder if you know what you've done to me. You walked into my life and everything after you began to look different, softer, deeper, more meaningful. Even my solitude has changed because now it echoes with memories of you. I find pieces of you in every poem I write, in every horse ride at dawn, in every silence I once cherished. You've filled the empty spaces with your essence, and now they no longer feel like voids but like sacred places where your spirit resides. Love me like you do almost, as if you don't even realize you're already a part of everything I am. I told myself not to fall. I told myself that a ruler must always remain balanced, that love like this is dangerous. But what is life without danger? What is love without risk? I would rather lose myself 1,000 times in your eyes than live a single day pretending I don't feel this. And if loving you means walking through fire, I will walk it gladly, because it would still be less painful than imagining a life without your laugh, your gaze, your quiet understanding. Love me like you do almost, like you're scared too, but you've already stepped inside the fire with me. People see me as strong, as untouchable, as a man made of iron and gold. But you see the boy who once wrote poems under a tree, who feared being too much and not enough all at once. You touched the part of me I thought I had buried long ago, the soft, trembling part that believes in dreams and dares to trust someone with the most fragile pieces of his heart. You didn't demand my truth, you waited until I offered it. Love me like you do almost, as if you've already accepted every shadow and are still willing to stay. There is poetry in the way you exist, not in grand declarations, but in quiet gestures. The way you look away when emotions rise, the way your hand hesitates before touching mine, the way your voice cracks when you say something real. You may not realize it, but you're teaching me how to love in return, not through perfection, but through presence. And so I ask you, my moonlit muse, love me like you do almost, like you're building a home within my chaos, one heartbeat at a time. Do you remember that night? The one where the stars disappeared behind clouds, and yet you said it was the most beautiful sky you'd ever seen. That's how you love, isn't it? You find beauty even in brokenness. And now, every time I look in the mirror, I see myself the way you saw me that night, not as a prince or a poet, but as a man trying his best to love someone the right way. Love me like you do almost, like every scar is a reason to stay closer, not walk away. I wake up sometimes wondering if this is all a dream, that one day I'll blink and find you gone, like a mirage in the desert. But then I remember the way you smiled when I first recited that poem to you, the way your hand trembled when I said your name out loud. Real things don't always come loudly. Sometimes they arrive softly, and that's how I know you're real. Love me like you do almost, like you're unsure it will last, but you still choose to believe in it every morning. There's a kind of madness in this love, and yet it is the most sane thing I've ever felt. I could write 1,000 verses and still fall short of what you make me feel with one glance. I used to chase perfection. Now I chase moments, the ones where you laugh without thinking, where your head tilts when you're curious, where you speak and suddenly my whole world pauses. Love me like you do almost, as if you don't know how this ends, but you want to stay just to see what we become. I don't need promises carved in stone. I need presence. I need the touch of your fingers over mine when the world grows loud. I need the certainty of your eyes, even when your lips tremble with fear. You don't have to be sure of everything. Just be sure of this moment. Love me like you do almost, as if loving me is a secret between us and the stars, something not yet named but deeply felt. You taught me that love isn't always loud or predictable. Sometimes it's found in waiting. In silence. In the breath before a kiss. In the way we sit beside each other, saying nothing, but speaking everything. You taught me that love doesn't have to arrive complete. It can grow, evolve, and blossom between two people willing to show up for it, even when they're unsure. Love me like you do almost, like you're still writing our story, one trembling line at a time. Sometimes I wish I could show you how I see you. Not with my eyes, but with my soul. You're not just a woman to me. You're the reason I believe that something divine walks this earth. You carry galaxies in your gaze, and yet you look at me like I'm enough. That gaze alone heals everything I ever questioned about myself. So love me like you do almost, like you're discovering your power in the act of staying, of choosing me, again and again. And if there ever comes a day when you wonder why I chose you, remember this: you didn't have to be perfect. You didn't have to be ready. You only had to be real. And in being real, you became everything I ever needed. So if you must love me with hesitance, with pauses, with unsure hands, then let it be so. Just love me like you do almost, because in that almost lives the entire universe of my heart.